views and opinions expressed may not reflect those of the Allen County Public Library, Access Fort Wayne, and/or any other supporting groups. If you are interested in producing your own programs for Access Fort Wayne, you can contact us at 260-421-1250.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and welcome to Countyline, the program that features news and information regarding county government. We are into the summer months. That means once again, of course, besides the fact that we get to enjoy nice weather outside, the prospect for some not so nice weather. Severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, they're all a part of summer months here in Northeast Indiana. And in the past several years, we've been very fortunate. We've had very few occasions when the weather has been extremely severe. But what if that occasion were to occur, that we were to have particularly destructive weather here in our community? What can you do to help in a situation where minutes matter and lives are at stake? Well, you can help. There is a way that you can be part of a team here in our area, and we're going to talk about how you can get involved, what it takes, and the benefits to the community. And joining us is Bernie Beyer, who heads up Allen County's Office of Homeland Security. And Bernie, it's good to see you once again.
Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Before we get to the training and the teamwork that we're talking about, let's touch on, first of all, the fact that we are into the heat and humidity of summer, and once again we want folks to be very aware of instances where severe weather can break out.
Well, you're absolutely right, and the easiest way to do it is to simply be ready whenever, wherever. Bad things happen all the time, whether it's severe weather, whether it's a power outage, whether it's somebody 2 or 3 feet in front of you having a heart attack. Just bad things happen, and being ready, being prepared for those things go a long way to make individual preparedness an everyday thing.
Yeah, how often do we say at the time to prepare for bad things is when bad things are not happening?
That's absolutely correct, and it doesn't take a lot. It's a mindset. Just committing to yourself that I'm going to be ready for anything, and taking a few simple steps goes a long way. And then for those that like to do extra steps and contribute more to the community, there's other options as well.
And that's what we want to talk about at this point. It's called Community Emergency Response Team. What is that?
Right. Well, it's a national program put on by FEMA several years ago. That's a formal set of trainings that teaches individuals to first make themselves ready and make their families ready. And then once them and their families are safe and ready following a disaster, that they're able to go out into the community, into their neighborhood, into their business, into their college dorm, and help others through very basic skills, but important skills.
Okay. Well, we have obviously Homeland Security. We have plenty of police, fire here in Allen County. Exactly how can these people help?
Well, when there's a large emergency, like a tornado hit in the city or county, the first responders, the trained first responders, can't be everywhere all the time. And oftentimes they're not needed if you can do some basic things. So in that situation of a tornado hitting several neighborhoods, first responders will go to the worst hit. Those that aren't as bad would be a great place for CERT volunteers to pin gas meters, turn off gas meters, do a basic search, see if anybody's there, provide basic first aid, just those basic skills that start to add some order to the chaos before the professional first responders can get there. It really helps to limit where we need those special skills and keep them where we're needed most, and where they're not needed, have others take a leading role.
Yeah, because we said at the outset, hours, even minutes can matter in a situation like that where lives could be lost.
It absolutely can. Even the chaos of a neighborhood block that's reduced to rubble, Even the street names are hard to find. If a trained CERT team is already there and has already done some basic search, some basic first aid, they can point to the first responders of where to go first. They can help prioritize that effort, or maybe take care of an area so the priority can be placed somewhere else.
Okay, so who is eligible? I mean, can anyone qualify for this type training?
Anyone can. Any adult over the age of 18 can be a formal CERT member. Even handicap, it doesn't matter. There's other roles to play. You don't all have to be search and rescue, carry a backpack, or lift boards. There's lots of roles in an emergency coordinating. So serving the community is something we encourage everyone to do, whether it's through the CERT program, Red Cross, the Volunteer Center, the churches. We have a lot of opportunities to serve based on your individual needs, your likes, and what you do. And this is just one of the many programs that you could do. What we'd also like to add this fall is a teen CERT program, where as young as 13 years old can go through CERT training as long as we pair them with adults. An example would be scout troops, things like that, that are already organized, already have leadership and doing good things, to bring the training to them with that organization and extend the program deeper into the community.
Okay, and you said this is certified training, professional training. What kinds of things will they learn, and what are you expecting from folks who want to be part of this CERT program?
Sure, the CERT program itself has an official basic training of at least 30 hours, usually a few nights a week for several weeks, or a long weekend or a weekend and a half is what we'll do that training in. The training is in basic preparedness, basic safety, some first aid, some very basic search and rescue, some basic fire suppression, organizational behavior, and a little bit of disaster psychology to help reduce the chaos and the fear in an emergency. So those are the basic areas. Combined, you receive about 30 hours of training, receive some of the equipment on the table behind us, some very basic skills, equipment that you'd use as basic training. And then throughout the year, we do ongoing training, ongoing practices. We get involved in community activities. We try to add to all the skills based on the needs of our community and the desire of the CERT members themselves.
Yeah. I think you touched on this a little bit, but what will this person be able to do at the site of a disaster that's going on? What would you be expecting them to provide to the professionally trained police, fire, Homeland Security folks when they show up at the scene?
Sure, I think it's taking action at the local level. It's the most important skill a CERT member brings. In disasters, in emergencies, in chaotic situations, people look to others to lead. We look for those emerging leaders. Oftentimes people might want to do things but don't have the skills and don't feel comfortable taking a leading role. Through the CERT program, you become trained, you develop those individual skills, that confidence in yourself to go lead others. So in a neighborhood that's got no first responders in it yet, oftentimes the most important role is just a strong leadership personality that's got the right skills to give advice and to lead those neighborhood members to do the right things in the early minutes and the early hours. And those basic skills, the confidence and the leadership is exactly what I think CERT brings to the table.
I would suppose this would be especially important in the rural areas of Allen County.
It's important everywhere.
Right.
Anywhere there's a group of people, we're looking for others to lead us. We're looking for others to help out. So we're not only helping, but you're servant leaders in the community. You've made a decision to serve others in the community, and through the CERT program, it teaches you the skills to serve them well.
Okay. Now, you're training them, but only up to a certain point, I would assume. There are obviously things, even though they've received certain training, you don't want them doing.
That's exactly right. It's very basic skills in the first aid and the search and rescue. A big part of the training that you receive in that 30 hours is what not to do as well. How to recognize this is a dangerous situation, especially in collapsed structures and the search and rescue. When we say light search and rescue, we're talking light search and rescues. There's a lot of training that goes into identifying what an unsafe structure is and when to stay out of it. Unsafe down wires, all those unsafe conditions on how to recognize those and know when to stop and to back out. And that's frankly extremely hard to do, especially if you see someone in need or you want to go in and help. So the hardest thing for individuals to do sometimes is not help when you know that it's more dangerous to you and others than it is to the person that needs some help.
You're kind of looking for help, but not heroism necessarily.
Right, we always put that first responder or the CERT member's safety first. You can't help others if you put yourself in a bad situation.
And this is a purely volunteer role. You're not going to be paid or anything like that.
That's
right?
great. All voluntary on the instruction. Our instructors are volunteers from other first responder agencies. It's all a volunteer effort. We look to donations to help with materials, things like that, from corporations to help fund the program. We used to get federal grant money, now we rarely do, but it's an important enough program that we'll find ways to sustain it and maintain it. It's also not a lifelong commitment. Over the years, we've had hundreds of individuals from Allen County that have received the training, and many have gone on, they've moved, they've gone on to serve other agencies, they've got older, they've found other interests, they've gone off to college. So just because you take the CERT training doesn't commit you to any minimum, doesn't commit you to 2 years or 5 years or a lifetime. You do it as long as it's appropriate for you, and if you find some other way to serve the community that better suits your needs, we encourage you to do that because we don't want to take away from the other opportunities to serve the community as well.
Now I know you said this is, and obviously it is, an important program for any area of Allen County, but do you have a particular need in the rural areas where it may take longer for police and fire to get to a disaster situation?
We do in any place that there's a volunteer. Here in Allen County, all of our township areas, all of our fire areas outside the city of Fort Wayne, but as well as the city of Fort Wayne could all use, it would be a great base station for CERT volunteers. It makes sense to operate to work out of a fire station. In a power outage, I frequently see that in past storms over the past few years. In winter storms, people go to the fire stations to get that bowl of chili, to find a warm place to stay during the day, for a Red Cross shelter, so they become natural meeting points. Town halls, city halls, all become logical places to build a CERT team and to serve their community from.
And that makes a good point. We're thinking, obviously, because of the time of year, about disasters that happen during the summer, but this is the kind of training that can be used year-round for any type of disaster.
It's all the time, and even if it's not in your neighborhood, again, once you've received the training and you develop the confidence in yourself and your skills, you'll be more likely to lead others, to serve others, wherever you're at. Whether you're attending a basketball game at IPFW or in your hometown, at work, at wherever your corporation is, in your office place, you'll have the confidence to lead others and to lead others to be prepared. And collectively, that gives us a better prepared county and a more resilient community, able to bounce back quicker when disaster strikes.
So is there a possibility that a CERT trainee could be assigned or sent to a certain area to help out if necessary?
Absolutely. What we typically do is encourage them to, where they're at, serve others.
Right.
And if there's an official call from our organization, we create staging areas, tell everybody where to stage for further assignment.
So you may be asked to go to another area within Allen County to help out if the tragedy is striking in that area. You're not necessarily just confined to helping out in your neighborhood. Obviously, that makes sense in your neighborhood, but you could be dispatched somewhere else.
Correct, if it's appropriate and if
Right.
it's safe to move there.
Sure.
In addition to the emergencies, CERT members get involved in the community all throughout the year, encouraging others to be prepared, passing out preparedness brochures. They could work at festivals downtown, they could work at races, any community event where there's large gatherings of people, and they have the ability to serve others and encourage others to be prepared. Is a non-emergency role for CERT members as well.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a disaster that's actually taken place. You may be looking at them to help oversee, you talked about festivals, oversee, say, events taking place where there are a large number of people, just to be there in case.
Right, work in a first aid booth at an air show. Again, providing preparedness information at a festival, at a run, passing out water, work in a first aid station. Any place where there's an organization need, the community need for an organized group of individuals that have some skills, and again, the confidence to serve is what it's all about.
Well, what kind of timetable have you got going on right now? I assume you're looking for folks.
We are. We're actively recruiting over the summer months in hopes of having a class early in the fall. Okay. Typically, summer classes don't go well with everybody on vacation and school break and things like that. So summer's a time to recruit. We're just about there with enough to start a class in September. So as the summer goes, we'll have enough. And we look to have generally about 2 courses a year of 20 to 30 students in them. And then we have monthly training once people are in. So even if people volunteer and we haven't had a formal course, we'll invite those individuals to the monthly training so they can start getting a feel and a taste for what CERT's all about.
And while it might be helpful, it isn't necessary to have had a background in emergency response or any training of that kind in the past.
Not at all. It's almost kind of funny sometimes to watch the non-emergency background folks seem to do better. They're not predisposed to think like a firefighter or like a police officer or a medic. They think as a citizen helping other citizens. Oftentimes those with skills have a hard time putting those aside because you're always a firefighter, you're always a medic. And sometimes we overlook the simplicity of the CERT program of just helping others do small things in emergencies go a long way.
If someone who's watching is interested, how do they get involved?
Absolutely. Call our office, contact us via the web, whether it's our office number at 449-4663.
Yes, as a matter of fact, 449-4663.
Or our website under the allencounty.us/homeland. But lots of ways to contact us, and we'll get information out to them right away.
Okay, sounds great. And you say this fall you'll start, but you'll try to do these on what, a twice a year basis, 3 times a year, something like that?
At least based on need, at least twice a year for a full course. Sometimes we have more if the interest is high, if we're growing the program. And then again, always have monthly trainings on topics within the CERT program or additional topics that might come up. How to make sandbags, other things have been, that CERT members do, other training is helpful. How to use chainsaws, OSHA type training, additional first aid training, AED, CPR, lots of things we can add to the program based on the wants and needs of the program members.
Sounds great. Bernie Byer, Allen County Homeland Security Office, thanks so much for being with us and explaining the CERT program to the folks watching.
Well, thanks, Mike.
And again, if you've ever thought about what can I do as a citizen to help out in an emergency situation, here's your opportunity. The Community Emergency Response Team here in Allen County, contact Homeland Security, 449-4663. If you're interested in becoming a part of this team, taking the training, and then being a valuable asset to your community during an emergency. Well, it was nearly 10 years ago that the first joint comprehensive land use plan for Allen County was developed, called Planet Allen. Now in 2016, that plan is about to undergo its first major update. We're going to talk about the process involved in that update and what has led to that. And joining us is Allen County Commissioner Nelson Peters, who was part of the original Planet Allen committee and is also involved through the Board of Commissioners in undertaking this new task. And first of all, Commissioner Peters, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Mike, it's great to be with you today.
Take us back 10 years. As I mentioned, you were part of the original Planet Allen group that brought this together. And kind of give folks who may not recall or weren't around then a little idea of how Planet Allen came to be.
Predating me back in 2002,
Okay.
Folks realized that it had been quite some time since either the city or the county had updated their comprehensive plan. In the city's case, it had been about 25 years, I think, and in the county's case, it had been close to 30 years. So when you think about going all the way back to 1970, since any plan had been updated, people began to realize that things had changed, things were changing rapidly, and it was time to get back on the stick and put something together that could serve as a roadmap for the days ahead.
Well, what is a comprehensive land use plan for the uninitiated out there who may not understand why you need something like that and how it's used?
Comprehensive land use plan is really a roadmap to help guide development within a community. Have them all over the place. It's for residential development, commercial development, industrial development. And while nothing is carved in concrete, it does indeed provide that roadmap to give people, to give planners, to give residents, to give citizens an opportunity to understand how a community is likely to grow throughout the years.
And that was quite an undertaking back at that time, as I recall.
It was about $350,000 worth of undertaking and countless man hours to get from what was being looked at in 2002 to the final plan and its passage in 2007 or 8.
And you mentioned City of Fort Wayne. You had to really bring in, I would imagine, all the incorporated areas of the county as well as considering the unincorporated areas as well. So a lot of collaboration.
What was kind of neat about this program is this was it was one of the first city-county land use initiatives, collaborative land use initiatives in Fort Wayne and Allen County, and probably one of the first that had ever been done in the state of Indiana.
And there has to be a lot of study done because I would assume because of Allen County's size and the urban areas, the rural areas, all of that has to be taken into consideration as you're putting this together.
One of the issues with a plan like this, especially with Allen County, is the diversity that exists within Allen County. You have a tremendous amount of agricultural area, but this truly is an urban, suburban type county. And so there was a lot of thinking that went in from farmers' fields to industrial development and commercial development in the downtown areas. So yes, absolutely, a lot of diversity and thinking came to the table to put this thing together.
You're never going to please everybody, but the idea is kind of to make things understandable for the different sectors, different lifestyles going on in the community, balancing that out with development, industrial, agricultural, business, trying to bring all that together,
right.
Again, to reach kind of a happy medium, I guess.
You never do make everybody
Right.
happy, but the interesting thing is with a plan like this, once you get it up and running, you are better positioned to make tweaks and changes as necessary to try and accommodate some of those people who initially may not have been happy.
Okay, so as you say, it had been 30 years before, or along that time before even Planet Allen came about.
Right.
Now we're 10 years from the establishment of Planet Allen. There have been even more social, economic, physical changes that have taken place in the area. So what led the Board of Commissioners to take this new step in updating Planet Allen?
Well, there are a couple of things going on. If you look at a clock from like the 6 o'clock mark to the 9 o'clock mark, and you parallel that with the way Allen County might look, there are some issues out on the south side that move us to the southwest that really precipitated the notion that something had to be done. Tremendous development out in the Airport Expressway area, industrial, some commercial stuff. Huge development out on the southwest side of town when you look at General Motors and a lot of the things that go along with that. There's a need to retool that which we had created back in 2008. And so we've drafted a group to get together to help us begin that process to ensure that it isn't 30 years before the next iteration of the comprehensive land use plan.
Yeah, roadmaps are great, but things change.
Exactly.
On the new roads come in, so to speak, that aren't contemplated initially when Planet Allen was put together.
That's exactly right. And so what this is an attempt to ensure that we don't leave something collecting dust for 30 years, that we're having a current conversation regarding some of the things that may have changed over the last 8 years, and that we're putting the wheels in motion to ensure that we've got the most up-to-date plan in the areas that we need to update that plan.
And as you mentioned, there were a couple of recent developments and discussions that took place that really pushed this forward. So what has the Board of Commissioners done to this point to get the review underway?
When you look at the diversity of need, the diversity of change, the diversity in the area that we're looking at, you look at General Motors suppliers, you look at airport issues, you look at development issues, you look at commercial, industrial issues. So what we tried to do is put together and appoint a group that could come to the table and help us study what's going on in that 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock area. And that includes people from the airport. It includes the General Motors plant manager. It includes the school district superintendent in Southwest Allen County. It includes developers. It includes people who are situated in the neighborhoods right around General Motors, and a number of other people. So we're bringing together a diverse group of individuals to help us really look at what the future in that particular area ought to look like and how people can work together and how we can get the biggest bang for our buck and keep the least amount of naysayers from coming back to reject what we've done in the years to come.
And you've got some government department officials that are going to help them in areas such as transportation and folks from Planning Commission, et cetera, who are going to give them some background and kind of aid them as they go through this.
Right. We've got a great staff with the Department of Planning Services and the Northeast Indiana Regional Coordinating Council, referred to as NERC. And what these individuals are going to do is they're going to really rough out what makes sense with respect to the things they've heard, to the concerns they know we've heard, and they're going to put it in some sort of planning vernacular so that we can come back and sort of look at a real rough sketch of kind of what it is they're thinking.
Here's what's happened, here's where we are now, and they can probably also give them an idea of what the future holds.
Right, that's exactly right.
Okay, so the task force is together. What kind of timetable are we looking at? I mean, when you talked about the initial plan that Alan put together, all the time it took to get that done, you're only talking about a specific area right now of Allen County, so it shouldn't take quite as much time, but what kind of timeline are the commissioners looking at?
You know, time is money, and the longer you leave a plan like this sitting, the more it's going to cost, the more you forget from whence you came, and the tougher it is to get from point A to point B. And so what we're trying to do is fast track this particular portion of the plan. We will begin meetings in the June and July timeframe with this task force committee. We'll have some public hearings in the October timeframe with an idea that latter part of October, November, we can actually get the approvals that are necessary to make this thing a reality come January 1st, 2017.
So the task force will make recommendations. Those go to the Planning Commission first?
They will go to the Planning Commission. They will likely go to the City of Fort Wayne Plan Commission as well as the Allen County Plan Commission. And then at the end of the day, they'll be signed off on by the Allen County Board of Commissioners and likely Mayor of the City of Fort Wayne.
Southwest area is where we've had some of these debates and discussions, but I can hear folks in the northwest section of the county saying, hey, we've had a lot of changes up here too, northeast as well. Are we looking at expanding this out eventually to other parts of the county?
Yeah, we thought we needed to stick a stake in the ground and begin somewhere and keep any more time from lapsing than what has since the original plan. So we're going to complete this by the end of this year, and then we're going to begin to work around that clock that I've referred to and finish up with the rest of the community, rest of the county.
So this is a process that's going to take a little while longer, Southwest first, but as you say, we'll go along and look at other areas of the county and see what changes need to be made.
Absolutely, change is happening everywhere.
Okay. Commissioner Nelson Peters, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Good luck to you and to the task force. Look forward to hearing more about the updates that are coming to Planet Allen.
Thank you. Appreciate the time today.
Well, these are indeed busy times for the folks here at the ticket office at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. So many things that are going on. Big events taking place. Comets are in their traditional playoff mode. They've got concerts coming up with folks like Dolly Parton, James Taylor, many other events that will be coming soon. We can't talk about those right now, but you can bet that there will be lots of things happening here to interest you at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. Fortunately, something else that you can count on. Ticket fraud, scammers, scalpers, people taking advantage of our citizens, our residents who come here to the Coliseum. Randy Brown, our friend, the Executive Vice President and General Manager here at the Coliseum, is joining us to talk a little bit about the problem and some of the forward steps that the Coliseum is taking to try to protect you. Randy, as always, good to see you again.
Mike, pleasure. Good to have you here.
I know we were out here, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, and talking about some of the issues that had cropped up. I don't know that things quieted down necessarily since then, but this problem has certainly reared its ugly head again.
This ticketing issue is a national issue, and people might say, well, Fort Wayne, we don't have a problem. Well, I can tell you we have a problem here. Whether we're talking about the secondary ticket market, people selling tickets well above face value, or selling fraudulent tickets out in front of the rotunda to unsuspecting guests, it's all of those things, and it's a problem. Anytime our guests are defrauded, I have a problem with that.
Obviously, it costs the people money because they're out what they paid for tickets that are basically worthless.
Right.
But it's a problem for you too, while maybe not necessarily monetary. It's still an issue from a, I guess, from a perception standpoint, from a reputation standpoint.
Well, it's an image issue, and people want to have faith in the tickets that they buy. They want to know that when they, however they acquire that ticket, that it's a ticket that's going to get them into the event. Just 10 days ago, we had a problem with at a Comet hockey game. Somebody was selling tickets. They had already been used, and with barcodes and scanners, you know, that ticket is only good for one entry into an event. And whether it was a print at home that was scanned and copied several times, or tickets that had been used and somebody that came out, all of those things are, in our opinion, fraud, and we want to put a stop to it. So we have labeled our whole property as a no solicitation area.
Okay.
And we are firmly and strongly pushing that we will not permit the resale of tickets on our property.
So if somebody's out here trying to resell a ticket, they buy sometimes in bulk and then they turn around and try to sell them again, or they're trying to buy from people who are coming into the building, turning around and reselling those.
Or they've copied Ticket Fast or any one different options there. We will not permit it on our property. We're going to give assume the innocent ticket seller, give that individual a notice that, please, you're not allowed to do that on our property. The second interaction, if the guest continues to try to sell tickets, the police officer will be involved. And on the third notice, the third interaction, it'll be trespass charges.
Okay. And that carries some penalties to it, I'm sure.
That is serious, and we hope it doesn't come to that. We've taken a very proactive approach. We look at this as an educational process. Part of what we're trying to do is teach our guests that the safe place to buy tickets is Ticketmaster.com, or come out here to the Coliseum ticket office. If you do one of those two things, I can give you a 100% guarantee that ticket will be good.
Okay. What are some of the other ways that people can protect themselves? I mean, is there a way you can tell on the ticket, or the bad guys that good at
no, you can't
producing
tell.
these fakes?
The unfortunate part is you can't tell. Yeah, I mean, if somebody has used a ticket, if they've copied printed home tickets, and you know, it's like you print the ticket at home, which is an 8.5 by 11 sheet with confirmation barcodes and all that. What happens is there are people that will take that to a copy machine, run it through the copy machine, make 25 copies. The first one to use it gets in. The other 24 don't get in. And I can tell you on concerts that happens a lot, but it's happening even with Comet hockey. So it's a problem. And there's nothing worse than when you have a sold out event. You end up with 30, 50 people in the lower lobby here. They're looking at us and asking the question, what are we going to do about it? It's like, well, you were defrauded, not by us. We don't have that money. So somebody has stolen from them. And if we have tickets available, it's, well, we'll be happy to sell you an event ticket. If the event's sold out, we really have nowhere to go with that.
There may be one thing people can kind of keep an eye out, because I've heard of this. You folks will usually announce dates when tickets will go on sale for an event. If somebody's trying to sell you a ticket earlier than the date you announced, that ought to be a pretty good tip-off that this is probably fake.
Well, and that's a great point. If you think back a couple weeks ago when we put KISS on sale, there were tickets on secondary ticket outlets. Again, we hadn't printed so much as one ticket yet, and they were listed for $2,200, so 1,800% above face value. And right now, on Friday, we're putting Dolly Parton on sale.
Okay.
Go to the secondary ticket outlets, you're going to already see specific seat sections, and it's like, it can't possibly be true.
So listen and keep up to the dates in particular that the Coliseum mentions when tickets will go on sale. Any kind of effort to get you to buy a ticket prior to that, probably, more than likely, is going to be fake. I know when we were here a couple of years ago, you talked about a coalition that the Coliseum is involved in. Kind of refresh our memory about what that is and how that's helping.
And if you go to our website, you'll see an icon called Fans First. And it is a group of buildings and legitimate ticketing companies that we've all banded together and to do everything possible to discourage, to make it difficult for secondary ticket brokers to interact with our guests. Now, I mean, some of the steps we've had to take, we've actually copyrighted our name and our trademarks so that when we see a website pop up, and part of what these secondary ticket brokers do is they clone the look of our website. Sure. So when the guest is just typing in Fort Wayne tickets or something like that, and they think, okay, Coliseum will be the first to pop up, we're not always the first. We can be fourth, fifth on the list. So if you do that, if you do a browser search and you see, again, event tickets, but if it's not the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum or memorialcoliseum.com, it's not us. And the other thing is, if it doesn't say Ticketmaster, it's not legitimate. Don't trust the site. So it's a real problem, and it's one that we will continue to fight. We will do cease and desist letters to these outlets, but just as fast as we get one taken down, another one goes up.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, we know these are problems in places like New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, in the really big cities, but it even happens in a town the size of Fort Wayne, and once they've found the opportunity to make money, these scammers will come back to that well as much as possible and draw the water from it.
That's right. I mean, and it's really, again, it's theft, and that's something we're not going to tolerate, but we're educating our public. We want our consumers to feel good about the Coliseum, to know that when they buy a ticket at the Coliseum or through Ticketmaster, it's going to be a valid ticket. So don't be concerned. Just be educated. Buy through the Coliseum, buy through Ticketmaster, nobody else, and you'll be fine.
And if you have any suspicions, if you have any questions about whether a ticket is legitimate, they could call the Coliseum and the ticket office and explain the situation.
Absolutely.
And you guys can give them some good advice, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Randy, thanks a lot. We appreciate your time here. Good to hear that the Coliseum is being proactive in this situation. Hopefully, folks, be wary out there, but always be careful as far as buying tickets, because the folks here at the Coliseum want you to have the very best time as possible when you come to their event and their facility.
Thanks, Mike.
And that's going to do it for this edition of our program. Don't forget, all of our past County Lines available for viewing online at either our Allen County Info YouTube channel or on our video on demand service that we provide through the City of Fort Wayne and the Allen County Public Library. Go to allencounty.us. You can find links for those services. I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the County Commissioner's Office. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again next time on County Line.